Now it's Women's Night in WWE as the promotion presents Evolution for the first time in 7 years. Join us now as we recap Evolution and provide our analysis on the good, the bad, and the downright ugly, as well as the real reasons why Naomi won the Women's World Championship. There's also a sad update on Seth Rollins. The show begins with a hype video for WWE's female superstars and Evolution. Joe Tessitore introduces Stephanie McMahon, who joins Joe as co-host before taking things to Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. That leads us to our first match on the card, that being the triple threat match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, as champion Becky Lynch takes on Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. This is a wild fight as Bayley seeks to add another title to her trophy case, while Lyra seeks revenge pro wrestling style by winning a rival's title. However, the third wrestler makes it tough as Bayley and Lyra repeatedly break each other's pinfall attempts on Becky. However, Becky's ring savviness prevails as she pins Bayley after the role model Rose plants Lyra. I'm telling you, that pin was smoother than Stone Cold Steve Austin's bald ass head. But Becky Lynch manages to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Next is the NXT Women's Championship as champion JC Jane take on Jordynne Grace with Blake Monroe. Jordynne battles JC and her Fatal Influence partners, but Blake Monroe does her best to offset the interference, but that is until Jordynne bounces off the ring ropes and it's Monroe who nails her with the NXT Women's Championship belt, setting her up for Jane to hit her finisher for the win. JC Jane manages to retain the NXT Women's Championship, but afterward Blake Monroe hands the title to JC Jane and exits the ring with a wicked grin, cementing her heel turn. Next up is a fatal 4-way for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship as the champions The Judgment Day take on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Soul Rucker and Zarya, and the Kabuki Warriors. Now, can Roxanne Perez live up to the standards set by Liv Morgan? The Judgment Day's opponents test them throughout the match, and it's anyone's game until Raquel Rodriguez powerbombs Alexa Bliss out of the ring onto the Kabuki Warriors. Perez takes out the Queen as Rodriguez powerbombs Soul Rucker and hits the pin, as the Judgment Day retain the Women's Tag Team Championships. Next up is the WWE Women's Championship as champion Tiffany Stratton takes on Trish Stratus. Now it's Legend versus Future Legend as the two of WWE's best battle for the title. Stratus shows that she's still a top contender, but it's Tiffy time tonight as Stratus tries a moonsault only for Stratton to lift her knees. Prettiest moonsault ever, and it's game over for Trish Stratus as Tiffany Stratton retains the Women's Championship. And next up is a no-holds-barred match as Jade Cargill takes on Naomi with special guest referee Bianca Belair. Naomi is determined to finish what she started last November and put Jade Cargill out of action for good. Naomi uses every weapon available and at one point tries to take out Cargill's eye with the table leg. However, there's no stopping this storm as Cargill gets Naomi into position for the Jaded on the top rope, planting Naomi through the table, and it's 1-2-3 as Jade Cargill defeats Money in the Bank winner Naomi. Next up is a Women's Battle Royal and the winner receives a Women's Championship match at Clash in Paris. Now the participants are Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame, Ivy Nile, Natalia, Maxine Dupree, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Zelina Vega, Julia, Candice LeRae, B-Fab, Mishin, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Alba Fire, Nikki Bella, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and Stephanie Vaquer. Now it's down to Stephanie Vaquer and Lash Legend after they team up to eliminate Nia Jax. It's a seesaw battle that ensues as both women engage in a fierce battle on the mat apron outside the ropes, but Vaquer hits the Devil's Kiss, stunning Legend enough to eliminate her for the win. Your winner is Stephanie Vaquer and she now earns a women's title match at Clash in Paris. Stephanie McMahon interviews Vaquer and she tries her hand at Spanish. Yeah, she's definitely seen those memes. Stephanie Vaquer thanks the women who paved the way for Evolution and promises everyone will remember her name forever. But now it's time for the main event as it's the Women's World Championship match as champion Io Sky takes on Rhea Ripley. Now can Rhea Ripley defeat the woman she's constantly come up short against? Well, that's a storyline driving the match as Rhea looks to regain the women's title and Io looks to inflict another loss. The two hold back at first until they both agree they respect each other and decide it's time to fight, with neither woman holding back. Io goes to finish the match with a missile dropkick but flattens referee Jessica Carr instead. Ripley and Sky take things to the outside, pulverizing each other as they fight through the crowd, and Io manages to launch herself off the top of some crates. The two finally battle into the ring, but that's when Naomi's music hits as it's now a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship as Naomi cashes in her briefcase. Naomi throws Rhea Ripley shoulder first into the corner, taking her out. A moonsault from Naomi flattens Io, and Naomi covers Sky for the title as Naomi is now the new Women's World Champion. Naomi celebrates after the match, but back in the ring, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are spent. Rhea helps Io to her feet and they hug, showing mutual respect before they help each other to the back as Evolution closes out. But that was a quick recap of the show. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? As always, we start off with the good is number 1, honoring the past. Evolution opened up with another WWE hype video that tugged at the fans' heartstrings as WWE honored the women who paved the way to the first Evolution and tonight's sequel. WWE brought in plenty of female legends from the past, ranging from Leilani Kai to Melina. Now in a surprise move, Michael Cole even gave a shout out to Sasha Banks, a key player in the women's revolution, a classy move that reflected the entire show's tone. Thankfully, the show didn't rely on nostalgia to sell, instead letting its many female superstars to let their wrestling do the talking. However, there was one gripe about that. Number 2, a Dynamite opener. Was tonight's triple threat between Becky Lynch, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria the best bout of the night? Now it certainly was until the main event, because Bayley and Becky put on the proverbial clinic while Lyra kept up with every step of the action. The match told a great story of Bayley and Lyra repeatedly stomping each other from scoring a pin on Becky Lynch, and Becky trying to capitalize on the third person factor to steal a win. Now while we think Bayley should have won the title tonight, the thought of another triple threat or a Bayley vs Becky match at SummerSlam is definitely enough to make it worth the wait. Number 3, a wild brawl. Now was there any hope for Jade Cargill? Well, tonight's no-holds-barred match between her and Naomi was undoubtedly Cargill's best performance in the ring, with the match's heavy use of weaponry and power spots naturally helping to hide Jade's many flaws in the ring. Number 4, fans are fair to Flair. Charlotte Flair had a tremendous ovation tonight from the fans, so much so that it appears that fans have adopted a newfound respect for her. Now this could have been due to Flair's recent brutally honest interviews where she showed her personal side, and her admitted shortcomings have shown fans a relatable side of the Queen. Now it's easy to shun someone who comes off as overpushed and flawless, but Flair's recent confessions about her private life, particularly her 3 divorces, have given fans a new appreciation for Flair's candor and willingness to improve personally and professionally. We gotta also say that we love the team of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They pair so well together. In fact, Charlotte saving Alexa Bliss from being speared into hell was a really beautiful spot. Number 5, Stephanie shines. Now we're not talking about Stephanie McMahon, although fans are always happy to see the billion-dollar princess. In this case, we're referring to Stephanie Vaquer, who continues her rise on the main roster. Now that she's earned a women's title shot, fans will be fascinated to see whether she adds a main roster women's world title to her already impressive resume. Number 6, a well-booked Battle Royal. Battle Royals are normally filler in a PLE, however tonight's Women's Battle Royal was a fun match that showcased some rarely seen stars and gave fans a chance to see the talent of NXT. WWE should consider adding prizes to every Battle Royal, whether it's a title shot or a kayfabe cash prize like the Battle Royals of yesteryear. It was also cool how they had one star from SmackDown, Raw and NXT as the final 3, and a bout for the ages. And last and certainly not least, Rhea Ripley vs Io Sky may be a match of the year candidate for all of wrestling. The story of Ripley's efforts to finally defeat Sky drove the match, but the real excitement was watching the two of WWE's best putting friendship on the back burner to see who the better wrestler really was. Now kind of unfortunately we didn't find out as Naomi cashed in a Money in the Bank briefcase, but fans will be eager to see their next battle. Still, the ending was a great feel-good moment and it definitely sent the fans home happy, as Naomi truly deserves this win. Literally 3 years ago, she'd walked out of WWE with Sasha Banks and returned home after a successful run in TNA. It's taken some time to get back up to the top, but here she is. Sadly, she didn't get a real run with the SmackDown Women's Championship where she defeated Alexa Bliss, as she had to vacate the title due to a legitimate injury she sustained in the match. Hopefully this time, she'll have a much longer run. But that was a good what about the bad as number 1, what was the point? Or why did WWE appoint Bianca Belair as a special referee for Naomi vs Jade Cargill? Now with all due respect, Belair already showed fans she's a terrible referee, as remember her calling Io Sky vs Rhea Ripley's match, and the only supposed reason she could have been in the match was her possibly turning heel on Jade Cargill. But while WWE fans have been speculating for months that Bianca would reveal herself as in league with Naomi and taking out Cargill, that really doesn't seem the plan. The only notion that we got was when Jade Cargill gave us some daggers after the match. Other than that, it was pretty pointless. Number 2, where were the legends? The WWE did bring in some fan favourites for cameos, but where were the legends during tonight's Battle Royal? Other than Nikki Bella or Michael Cole mistakenly calling Candice LeRae former WWE superstar and GoDaddy spokesmodel Candice Michelle, there were 0 superstars from yesteryear in the match. It's hard to believe that WWE couldn't attract some names for the Battle Royal, adding another way to honour the women's legacy. Now there was nothing downright ugly. Evolution proved to be one of WWE's best PLEs of the year. There were plenty of title matches, a solid grudge match, a decent battle royal that gave some valuable TV time to some of WWE's underutilized talent, and arguably one of the best main event women's matches of all time, and arguably the biggest surprise of the year with the cash-in. Now, while some fans and critics believe that Evolution was nothing more than part of WWE's weekend-long plan to sandbag AEW All In, the show itself was a fabulous presentation of how much the WWE Women's Division has to offer. All of the women truly gave it their all tonight, and they deserve that respect. Now, whether this leads to a sequel and or a better use of the women's roster remains to be seen. But what do you guys think of Evolution tonight? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's look at the real reasons why Naomi cashed her Money in the Bank briefcase and won the Women's World Championship. And now that Evolution is over, let's examine some reasons why Naomi chose to cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase against Women's World Champion Io Sky rather than Tiffany Stratton. Naomi's successful cash-in has fans going wild, and there's some strong reasons why. As number one, Io Sky's run was really mid. Now, Io Sky is a phenomenal performer and a real fan favourite. However, her run has been mid from the night she captured the title, and much of this has to do with WWE booking her as a complete afterthought. This was clearly seen when her program against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley focused on Belair versus Ripley's rivalry rather than the champion themselves. That's definitely not a way to book a title run, and it squandered a chance to turn Io into a true main eventer. Number two, Rhea winning was too predictable. Now, while Rhea Ripley makes a great women's champion, putting the title on her tonight would have been too predictable, as fans expected Mommy to finally snap her losing streak against the Goddess of the Sky. But number three, WWE needed a huge swerve. Naomi's Money in the Bank cash-in was a true OMG moment, as most WWE fans were certain she was waiting to cash it in against Tiffany Stratton. Instead, fans witnessed a jaw-dropping moment that's going to go down in Money in the Bank history as one of the best cash-ins ever. Number four, the streak continues. Naomi's successful cash-in also means the WWE's female superstars still have a 100% success rate cashing in the briefcase. Now, this will only add to the excitement when someone wins it next year, as they wonder whether they can keep the streak going. Also, it would have been very anticlimactic to have a failed cash-in on the women's biggest night. Number 5, Naomi deserves it. Now, the biggest reason for Naomi's winning cash-in is that she deserves it. Naomi is a fantastic performer who's been on the back burner for too long. She went from 2 reigns as SmackDown Women's Champion to a supporting player. Fortunately, a return to WWE proved that she didn't let her past treatment slow her down or stop her from delivering 110% each and every night. She's also gone above and beyond with her heel work, normally taking to social media to further it instead of on television. The WWE audience loves her, and it's time to recognize her talent and see where things go as she continues her outstanding heel work. And next up, a sad Seth Rollins update. Now it's time for an update on Seth Rollins, who hurt himself during the Saturday night's main event match against LA Knight. And while we don't know the nature of Seth Rollins' injury, particularly or whether or not it's serious, Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp is reporting that Seth Rollins is backstage at WWE Evolution on crutches with a brace on his knee. Triple H also mentioned on the post-show press conference that Seth Rollins' knee injury doesn't look good, and he'll get an MRI tomorrow, so hopefully we'll know more from there.